Go to this computer. Okay, welcome back, everybody. It is July 14, and I believe this is call 27. So we've passed the midpoint of the year, and it's either 27 or 28. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but you'll see it on the re on the replay. So help me catch up. Where have we been? Our
Oh,
last call, we really got it. Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
we've been all over the place, and I have to leave at 5:30 as usual on a Monday this time, and but I just wanted to talk about a topic if I could, and maybe address some issues for everybody that will be important. I saw one of the messages came down from somebody watching one of the gurus in our industry about asking questions, which is apropos because, I learned in my first sales training that you got to ask the question, you ask the order. It's pretty standard procedure. But I was mentoring a student this weekend, and I asked a question, and the student went off in a tangent about what was going on with the circumstance. And so I decided that uh, a technique that I've used forever and a day, got trained on many, many times, was to role play. And the idea was, okay, so when I was mentoring somebody, I would say, okay, you got to learn your script, your pitch, your story. Call me up someday unannounced and pitch me as if I was a prospect or somebody that you were prospecting. And this then opened the door. I did another video, which I posted today about, the income levels of the compensation plan because one of my favorite questions that I'd ask somebody is that, well, what kind of money do we have to talk about to get you to take a look at this? And in a business sense. So there was the question. And then the person would say, well,
Hang on, I don't want to gloss over that. That's a very important question.
yeah, no, it's a great question.
So,
And
what would it take for this to get your undivided attention, or what would it take, or how much money are we talking about for this to become something that you would put on the front burner, or how did you say it?
yeah, I just said, what kind of money do we have to talk about to get you to really take a serious look? Now, most of us, I would say all of us, know our own budget. We know what our nut is. We know how much our bills are. We know what our cost of living is. We know where our shortfalls are. We know what we can't do. We know where we have to scrimp or save. Now, there are some that don't care because they got so much money it doesn't matter. But even some of those folks do the same thing. So I learned over time that if I asked that question, and for the guy that was really serious, I'd get an instantaneous answer. I mean, it just would cut 5,000 a month. 10,000. I need to make 10,000. I'd love to make 10,000, whatever the case may be. Now, here's the next responding response to that. Let me show you how. See, when you're talking to somebody that's looking for a solution, we're all the same. Each and every one of us, we operate on the same basis. If there's a problem that we have that we can't solve, we're going to look for a solution as long as we need to until we find the solution. Mike did it today, looking for a plug in his sink because the water wouldn't come out, and they were spent hours and hours and hours figuring it out. And they finally found the solution, and man, relief, and everything is happy, and so on and so forth. So again, with what we do, it's no different. We're looking for people that have an issue or a problem, whether it's the product, whether it's the philosophy, whether it's the social aspect, or whether it's the income. Now, by statistics, the income avenue always makes a bigger business than any of the others. So the wise man takes that route. But all of the others play a role if that's what the person's interested in. So, again, at the beginning, when I needed to make money, I realized, well, I got to talk to people that need to make money, but I got to show them what to do, and I need to learn what to do. So the question becomes, well, what kind of money do we need to show me? And here would be the question that I would pose to this group and what should be done. I need to make $10,000 a month. Well, show me how to do that. How many feel confident that they could show somebody how to make $10,000 a month? I mean, really confident, great detail. Okay, we got one to two people, maybe three. See again, you're a professional business person, and your job is to sell as much Nikon product as you possibly can, because that's the game. You didn't come in here to, again, from our perspective of trying to teach people how to be successful in this business. So the key is there's millions of people out there that just lost their jobs. There's millions of people out there that are trying to figure out a better mousetrap. There's millions of people that scratch their heads every day, are going broke, going bankrupt, can't pay their bills. And we just need to provide them with an immediate answer to where we're going. So I created this video as a training tool for you to learn and understand how to answer that question with confidence, because here's the deal with the confidence. When you're talking to a new person, the most important thing that is going to register with them is, can they trust you? Can you deliver the goods for them? Can you solve their problem and issue? Can you really help them? Are you, and the more the more confident you are about, yeah, well, you want to make 10,000 a month, piece of cake. Let me show you how. And then you engage, and then there's the other aspect. You got to make sure you're in the right place and that you're not distracted, and you've got, the right support material, and you've got your ABC lined up, and you got your story dialed in. Because again, what I saw and observed over time was the leaders' stories were what attracted the other people to join the business, because their stories were real. Their stories were impactful. Their stories were based on true situations in life and living. And what they found with Nikon was a way to, not beat the system, but, get rid of the negatives and turn everything to a lot of positives. So again, the video is there to help you learn and understand how to answer that question. And if you're trying to build this business, the way it grows is grows exponentially. Two go four, four go eight, eight go 16, 16 go 32, etc. You know that drill. It's the penny double theory every day. And the only way that happens is through a network of distributors. It's the only way it happens. So you got to take that in mind, and that's where it's at. And I hope you enjoyed the video. It's got a number of views already. It's just come out. And if you have any questions, please call. But when you're working with your downline and you're working with other people, practice, phone each other up, drill, pitch each other, close each other, sell each other, explain the program to each other as many times as you can, because that's the only way you're going to gain the confidence that you know what you're talking about. Because when you don't know what you're talking about, you sound like a fool. And not to say that you are, but you do. It's just, I've watched this happen with people who don't know what they're doing. And it's like, oh, you get embarrassed because they don't know what they're saying. And what do you think the prospect is? Are they all stupid? No, they're not stupid. They're smart. They can tell. They know. Anyway, there's my 2 cents worth to start this meeting.
Okay, well, we do have a question, and we'll come back to, well, last week was goals, but we'll come back to that. Lynn, you have a question?
Just a very quick observation for Mike and Dave. This was a big process for me learning the comp plan, and I'm going to share with the group. Unless you practice yourself, until I sat down and calculated from scratch, even I had to refer, you don't learn it. I watched your video, I watched Dave's, I thought I know it until I sat down and did it. No. And that's just my personal experience. That's all I'm sharing.
Okay, so we have the video. There's your homework for everybody. It's your homework is to watch the video and learn it, study it. I want to make a comment because my mind is trying to think, okay, what would you be thinking having just heard that? And one of the things that popped up is, yeah, but what if I haven't made 10,000 in a month? And I also wanted, and what also came up for me in terms of answering that was, if you've ever watched anything on social media about income opportunities, there's all kinds of wild claims being made out there, lots and lots of claims. And they all talk I did this and I made whatever in the last 3 months. First of all, that's illegal. They're actually not allowed to say that. But regardless, they're saying it. But what they are all selling, all of them, no matter how sweet it sounds, what they are selling is a how to. That's what they're selling. It's a how to. Maybe they have a business in a box, but it's a how to. Nobody is guaranteeing anybody any income. There's no such thing. So they're all really saying the same thing, how to make money. They're going to show you how to, how to, how to. And then when you follow up on that, which I've tried every now and then, I like to see where's this going. We'll send you a free PDF. We'll send you, there's always something they're going to send me that I have to write my name and information here because now they capture my lead. So now I'm the lead, and they're going to sell me something on the low end. How this usually works, if they're any good at it, by the way, is they'll sell me something on the cheap. But the thing that they sell me on the cheap leads me to want to buy the next tier. There's 3 tiers usually in every sales proposition in online business and online marketing: low, medium, high. Sounds like our good, better, best, right? Absolutely, because it's exactly the same thing. They're all the same. But what's important to understand is they're selling a how-to. That's what they're selling. So they obviously know how to explain their how-to, whatever the how-to may be. You know, how to drop ship, or how to, I don't know, just how there's so many how-tos. They're how-tos. At the end of the day, they're selling a how-to. So what Dave's talking about here is for you to gain confidence in your how-to. Because if that's what they're selling, and that's literally almost everything I see online, it's the how to, then we need to be very competent in our ability to sell the how to. The why to, well, that's personal. That's if they have a need.
And Michael, here's the perfect response to your question of if you haven't made it, your confidence will override them even wondering if you've made it.
That's
Because
true.
it's the
And
knowledge they want.
right. And not only that, but you're the front end. You're the leading edge of the wedge. Meaning, what's behind you? What's behind you to back the how to? It's a it's Nikan and all the people in between, your upline, and the people who are on this call and around you. So you're the leading edge. You're the window through which they get to peek in. And depending on what you show them, they get to see what you show them. But at the end of the day, you have access to all the information you need to demonstrate the how-to. And not only to demonstrate the how-to, to show the how-to, but also to validate the how-to, to validate it. That's an important part. Present and validate. Present, validate. You're going to present a product, validate that it works. Give them a demo. So this concept of really gaining confidence in the how-to is critical because that's what you're selling when you're selling the business opportunity. You're selling the how-to. That's what you're selling. So, any questions? Let's fire it up, guys. Let's get this questions thing going here.
And while people are thinking about questions, here's the other thing that you have to really understand in this how-to process. Everybody's different. Everybody has different circumstances, different lives, different relationships, different stuff going on in their head, their body, whatever the case may be. And no matter what industry you're in, you're not going to get everybody. So the more you do and practice what you're saying, you're then going to attract those that see and understand what you have. And so again, I can remember us making $100,000 a month in when I was really in my peak time and sometimes more. And I was prospecting. I didn't close people just because I was making the money. Because the really what was boiled down to was what did that person I was communicating see and understand? What was their circumstance and how much did they want to handle what they were trying to handle? And what's really important is not everybody wants to deal with what they need to deal with. Not everybody wants to get out of the way. Not everybody wants to handle their garbage and junk.
This is really
So what?
important.
Yeah.
That's
So
important.
that yeah,
What
absolutely.
percentage do you, Dave, in your experience in business, what percentage of the people at large do you feel really mean what they say?
10%.
Okay, that's 1 in 10, guys. So if 1 in 10 people say they have an income need, then or 10 people say they have an income need, one of them is serious about it. The other nine will say they have it. Maybe they'll even toy with it, a couple of them. But I find 80% of the population, my number is 8 in 10, 82% really don't really mean what they say. So it's really important that you realize that. It's the ace in the deck. There's only four aces in a deck of 52 cards. Less than 1 in 10.
I remember I was showing off to some of my downline at one of the Team Diamond events in Atlanta, and I was saying, "Okay, there's a guy over there. I'm going to go practice with him and show you what I'm doing." So I go up to him and I said, I'm in town doing this seminar with this team, and we're doing this. Would you be interested in making some extra money?" And I asked him the question, "What kind of money would you need to make?" And he said, maybe 50, 60,000 a month.
Okay.
But you never know what you're going to run into. But okay, I said, great. I make twice as much as that, but maybe we should sit down and talk. And his ears perked up and we talked. So it just depends. So, but what Michael's saying, what I'm saying, what we're trying to say to you is you just got to know what you're talking about, get out there, because that's going to attract attention. It's just going to attract attention. And again, once you have that one person that you have developed that relationship with, then your job is to get them to do what you said in the video. I talk about this is that again, from the standpoint of how the compensation works at Nikan Design, they pay the leadership bonuses to 6 levels. Why? If you do the 3x3 down 6 levels, there's 729 people down there. If you don't build the first, the second, the third, the fourth, you don't get to them. I mean, there's lots of little nuances of understanding this technology, but sometimes if you don't understand our program, it's hard to explain to somebody else how the hell they're going to make 10 grand a month or 20,000 a month or 30,000 a month because they're
How
looking
about
at selling product or they're looking at recruiting a few people, they're looking at the PGPV end of things, or they're looking at the accelerator bonus and so on and so forth. I bet you dollars to donuts between Michael and I, 99.9% of our income came from developing leaders. I mean, just no question about it, guys. That's where, you know, and again, this is important explaining the business. It's the phase one, phase two. Phase one is you learn what to do exactly it is. You beat yourself to death. You go out there, you do it, you learn everything you can so you can get into phase two. What's phase two? Teaching others how to do it. Because it's the teaching others how to do it that makes it work for you. No, you can't do enough yourself. You don't have enough time. You don't have enough. Nobody's done that. And
so?
so you gotta anyway. I get excited about this because it's fun.
Any questions? Because I have additional homework for you. Find somebody who wants to make $5,000 a month, whether it's a primary income, a secondary income, whatever, and get them on the call on Thursday. We'll show them
Good
how.
call.
So you got 48 hours to find somebody who wants to make $5,000 a month. If you fail at that task, I'm gonna call you out. I'm gonna say that you're not serious about it.
And watch the video first before you ask the question.
Okay. Yes, Nikan has multifacets to it. There is a retail opportunity. And of course, we can do the business on a basis where we enroll people either as customers or consultants and generate cash flow, and it can be as simple as that. And that's fine. That's Niken as a secondary income, or Niken as a extra income. But to make Niken primary income, for that, you've got to build a team. It's a team sport. Primary income, Niken, is a team sport. You're building a team and helping people to build teams. And notice team sports pay really well. Now, if you're any good, they pay pretty well. So team sports pay more than, Lone Ranger sports.
And here's the other benefit of this, of everybody doing this, then you've got a place to send new people to that's going to be vibrant, exciting, growing, expanding. People will be knocking the door down to get on the call because everybody's building it so quickly and having so much fun. And that's all we had back then.
Let me ask you this question, Dave,
Yeah.
because we've had some ABCs.
Yeah.
If somebody says to you, I need to want to make $5,000 a month, and you say, fine. In order to do that, there's three things you need to invest: time, money, and contacts. Let me start with the hardest: contacts. That's the people you know, the people you're going to meet. These are the people that are going to potentially join your team, potentially buy the products. And so inviting your contacts is going to require a certain level of understanding and skill to feel confident in inviting them, because it's your reputation on the line. The other one is time. If you're not willing to set aside a number of hours on a weekly basis consistently, not freelance whenever, then it's going to be hard to build a team, because there needs to be some kind of regularity to your activities. So they're going to have to take some hours. Minimum 10, that would be the absolute bottom line minimum, and then go up from there. The third component is money. If you're going to build this as a business, then you need to look at products from a business point of view. We have three ways of getting involved in the products if you're looking at it from a business point of view: good, better, best. Which one do you want to hear first? They're going to say best. There's three packs. Those are the three packs: water pack, energy pack, sleep pack. Get the packs. There's a reason for you to get the packs. Number one, you're going to experience all the products. And you're going to be able to speak with some degree of confidence, because somewhere, somehow, those products are going to make something happen. And that's going to be the magic that's been driving this company for 50 years. You're going to experience it firsthand, and then you'll be able to speak to that. The other reason is people are going to do as you do because you're going to recommend they do as you do. That's our business. We recommend things. As you were told today, or you heard the video, ask, right? Ask. If you don't ask, you don't receive. So you got to ask. So what are you going to ask? Ask them to do what you did. So that's the best way to do this. Now, we have three packs. If you only chose one pack, you can still do the business. It's still duplicatable, but you're going to be asking people to choose one pack at the end of the day, because you're going to only be comfortable and confident to ask them to do what you've done. Now, if you're duplicating three packs or you're duplicating one pack, there's a difference in the pay. There's a difference in the speed of growth. There's this difference in the return. Given the number that you're looking for, 5,000, do you think a $5,000 investment is too much to make in a business that's going to pay you $5,000 a month? Well, it probably won't take $5,000. That's the good news. But I just wanted to be clear about that. I wanted just to see where your head is at, because a lot of people think something for nothing. They think, oh, and I'll tell you what's wrong with that. If you agree to that, if you let them believe that they can start with nothing, then I'll tell you what they're going to end up doing.
Nothing.
They're going to, well, either nothing, or they're going to sponsor somebody, or they're going to talk to somebody with a very low degree of confidence because they haven't experienced the products. And that person is not going to necessarily buy the products, because that's probably going to be what the conversation will be about, because it's not a business decision that you made if you're not starting with something. So you'll be probably talking about the products. And when they come up with a product Price objection. Oh, it's really expensive. You're going to cave like a cheap suit because you don't have the confidence and you didn't make the investment yourself. So I'm telling you the truth. I know I've been at this 33 and a half years. Nobody is going to pull the wool over my eyes. That's the way it goes. So if you want to teach people properly and give them the best chance at that 5,000 a month or that return that they're looking for, they got to have skin in the game. If they don't have skin in the game, they will fold like a cheap suit and you'll have wasted 2, 3, 4 weeks of your time coaching, training, teaching, motivating somebody who's not vested in the business. Do not do that, not the people on this call.
And here's another perspective to what Michael just said. If you think about it in the sense of, let's say you had a child who was 14 that wanted to drive the car and go out on a Saturday night. They never had driver's license, but they were excited because you told them that driving was a lot of fun. Would you give them the car and let them drive away? Hell no. You wouldn't do that. I remember the first car I gave my daughter, the first day she got the car, she ran into the president of the school's car and had a little accident. So, it takes time. But here's the other thing. You all can drive cars really well. You can parallel park, you can draw long distance, you can go to the needle on the gas is almost down to nothing. You know what to do, et cetera, et cetera. And so you could tell somebody about driving a car today and be very proficient, very confident that you could do that. Now, here's the nice thing that you really want to think about. If you are talking to the right person that has some intelligence between their ears and really wants to solve a problem, what they want to know most is how does it work? They'll figure it out if you show them and tell them. And then again, one of the things that I like to do was do the phase one, phase two with the guy and say, listen, at first you got to learn everything you got about this business because your job is teaching other people how to do it. Once they got that concept in their mind, piece of cake, no problem at all. They understood what it made it work and they could then get their wits around it and do something. We have a tendency, as Michael says, to shortcut things. Yeah, become a distributor, do this, do that, go to this meeting, go to that meeting, and we don't really educate them enough to get the ball rolling. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with that. I have to take off. I got a ferry to go catch and go for a nice boat ride in my yacht across the Bay of San Francisco. And
Lovely.
anyway, watch the video and let's get a ton of people on Thursday's call. There you go, Michael.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, I'm going to pick up here and I'm answering questions, but I just wanted to find something for you because, yeah, okay, this is good. All right, let me just pin myself here so you can see the recording. Okay, right here. Where am I? There. Okay. That's not the right diagram. I want to use the one that's most recent. Okay. You know the diagram that I often refer to, it's the core consultant. The core sphere of influence, the core circle of influence. That's the slide I'm talking about. Core circle of influence, 5 customers, 3 partners. So what Dave's talking about, he says, you got to do this, and then you're going to teach everybody else how to do this. So what is this that we got to do that we're going to teach everybody how to do? What is the this? Yeah, thank you. What is the this that we're going to teach everybody how to do? You got to do this, and then you're going to teach everybody how to do that thing. So I talk about it. It's like a recipe for baking a cake or making a pie. What's the recipe that I got to do that then I can teach other people how to do? And if I haven't done it, I still have to do it because that's the thing that I need to do to teach people how to do it. Oops. Let's see if I can get this up and running here. Business presentation. Here it is. Okay. Okay, what's the this that I got to do right here? This is the this that I got to do. I got to create a core circle of influence because once I've done that, then I can teach others how to do that. Now, if I have one customer on AutoShip, that's one. I've at least learned how to do that. If I have one person who I have enrolled who has invested in Niken as at the same level as me or greater, then I have duplicated myself. Until then, I have not completed the two things that we need to learn how to do to teach other people how to do. Okay, let me repeat. First, I have to have somebody who's joined the business, or excuse me, joined as a consumer and is on AutoShip, has purchased whatever it is that I have purchased myself and is on AutoShip. That's one of the components that we have to integrate into our onboarding of a new customer and the onboarding of a new consultant. So they've purchased what I've purchased and have onboarded on AutoShip. If you are not on AutoShip, you are not going to onboard anybody on AutoShip because this is a business of duplication. We duplicate our bad habits as much as we duplicate our good habits. So one of the habits you need to be in is onboarding people with the products that you recommend highest, which is presumably the ones you have purchased, and the AutoShip, whichever one you perhaps recommend the highest because that's the one you're on. So there should be a core product that you have purchased and a core product that you are on AutoShip with in order for you to replicate, to duplicate. So that's first. Second, when you onboard a new consultant, if they don't make the commitment financially, they're not a partner. They're a consultant. By definition, it's our definition what a partner is. Niken doesn't have such a term. We have that term as a training for you, as an understanding of what is it that I'm really looking for. I'm looking for partners. I may not end up with a partner. I may end up with somebody who's a customer. Going back to our where is it? Our process. Here it is. So if we go back to our process, have a look. What do we see? We see a process of information will lead to a customer, a consultant, or a partner. A customer, a consultant, or a partner. A consultant is somebody that joins but doesn't necessarily do anything duplicatable. They join, they buy some products, maybe wholesale, maybe they're just a wholesale customer. Maybe they do Niken in a very haphazard way. They don't have a goal. They haven't made a commitment to a goal. They're just somebody who's happy to join. Now, if that's the case, it's possible that you haven't finished the process with them, which is why all the steps in the process are necessary. Why? Because how does a partner know they're a partner? How would a partner know they're a partner if they don't know what it means? Since it's a term we created, not Niken. How does a partner know they're a partner? Well, I've been teaching you what is a partner. Somebody who invests three things: time, money, and contacts. They have to invest time, money, and contacts. Contacts is the contact list. Money is the investment in the products, which we've been talking about. Good, better, best. That's a duplicatable product purchase. If somebody buys one item off the Niken list, let's say they buy, I'm going to try those insoles. They're going to try the insoles. Are they a partner or are they just somebody who's trying insoles?
A customer.
Yeah, a wholesale customer, maybe even. Now, they've told you everything else. I want to make $5,000 a month. I'm interested in the business. I'm joining you in the business, but I'm going to buy a pair of insoles to try. That's a red flag because that's not consistent. That's inconsistent with what it is they say they want and what it is that they're saying their intention is. So that's why it's important to have training that allows them to see, how do I align my expectations with what is really required of me in order to meet those expectations? Otherwise, we're lying to people. Hey, just join. And you know what? people are going to just be knocking down your door to join you because you joined. Does that make any sense at all? No. So, what is the process of information that's necessary? It's one that allows them to understand what the definition of partner is. And that definition they don't understand until the very last conversation, the what conversation, which is the Thursday night call. They've not even heard that term. They don't know what it means because it's on that call, it's on that presentation, it's in that conversation where they learn what it means. What is a partner? A partner is somebody who commits to launch their business. And it's a requirement. There's three things that are necessary: time, money, and contacts. And here is the investment we recommend where the products are concerned: good, better, best. And then the example that we illustrate, which includes the auto ship. So they hear it, they understand it, they learn about it in this presentation. So what is it that we're trying to duplicate? That's the important thing that you're trying to duplicate: a process, an investment in the business, and a goal that's aligned with that investment, so that when somebody is really committing to the business, they're committing really for real. Remember that conversation we had a few weeks ago? For real, Nikken for real. They're doing Nikken for real. There's a lot of people who want something for nothing. You're wasting your time if you're going to entertain those people. Wasting your time. I love everybody, but I'm not an idiot. I don't waste time. I invest time. So if I'm investing in somebody, it's because they're investing in themselves. Otherwise, I'm not investing in them. Not my time, not my money, not my energy, not my emotions, especially not my emotions. Now, it might sound a little crass tonight, a little bit of rough around the edges, but I'm telling you, if you want to be somebody who is capable of delivering, you got to be brutally honest with people. You got to say, look, this is not a something for nothing. This is not a get rich quick scheme. This is not a lottery. It's a business. If you treat it like a business, it will treat you like a business. It'll reward you like a business. But if you start bargaining with me as your sponsor with what it takes to get going in this business, what it takes to commit, if you start bargaining with me, then you're lying to yourself, and I'm not going to entertain that. Now, I'll tell you something. You'll get rid of the flies really quick with that attitude. You'll get rid of the people who are ready to waste your time and will ultimately waste your time fast. But you'll also get to the people who want what they say they want right away. Do you know why? They like what you're saying. They want to know the truth. And if you say something that's a little bit of a pill to swallow, but it's the truth, they'll be attracted to it. They're actually attracted to it, not repelled by it. The people who are repelled up by it are the posers, the fakers. They're the ones who are repelled by the truth. But the ones who like the truth, want the truth, they will be attracted because they want the solution. They're serious about the solution. And they know there's no such thing as something for nothing. They're with you and having a conversation with you because they know the online stuff is a load of crap. It's just all hyperbole. At the end of the day, they're not going to be having coffee with any of these people. They're not going to be spending time at, Nashville building a business and learning about Nikken and the technologies. That's not going to happen. So find the people who are serious about what they want. And you can find them out really, really quickly by asking particular questions and being brutally honest with them. Just say, look, I got to be honest with you. You think this is a something for nothing, a get rich quick scheme, you're barking up the wrong tree. Let's not waste each other's time here. There is a commitment because there's also commitment on my part. When I enroll somebody as a sponsor, what am I giving up? What am I putting out for them? Think about it. Ask yourself the question, what are you doing for somebody? When you say you're going to sponsor somebody, what are you prepared to do for that somebody? There's a commitment there. And I know you guys don't mess around. You're serious about this. So I know you're going to put your heart in it. You're going to put your mind to it. You're going to put your time and energy into it. You're going to do your very, very best because you want the best for them. That's who you guys are. Well, if they don't want the same for themselves, then you're pushing a rope. You know, the ropes don't get pushed. They just so questions. Let's open the floor.
I call it Michael agreement, what you just said. And I'm just learning and I'm so proud. I have to say proud of myself. It's my control. So I said, I would like to set up agreement. This is what I'm willing to do time-wise. I need your agreement. You will do the same. And as soon as I said that, and it's Michael, the couple in Edmonton, all of a sudden the response is a lot quicker. Meaning when I said, I'm available tonight at 7, I have a few questions, let's connect, they did. But until I said that, it was like, oh, but they're not responding. And I said, what am I doing that for? I'm giving them my best. Look at what I have behind me, you and Dave helping me. What I'm so proud of
And
that.
Nikan.
Yes.
And all of Nikan, right?
So all of a sudden, I said, this is my agreement with you guys. And I put it together last Friday and it's totally much easier, whichever way it goes. But I'm taking control of what's happening between us in the communication and what they need.
And Lynn, the only thing that can happen is good and positive because no one would be offended if they were acting in integrity. If they were genuinely interested, then they're going to respect that. They're going to appreciate and respect that you're defining the boundaries, and people need boundaries, especially in a business that seems to be air. You know, we don't have a brick and mortar building. We don't show up. We don't punch a clock. It's like, how do you define what it is that we are and do? The more you create structure, the more you create those agreements, and you create the space for this to actually succeed.
Yeah. And I'm proud of taking that control. It's for the best for both of us.
Absolutely. Madeline.
I was the Zoom user earlier coming home, so I was driving, so I had to be careful. I couldn't have come in at a better time. Maggie gave me about 45 minutes of her time last weekend. I don't know if it started with COVID and being isolated and all these Zoom meetings, whatever, but wherever I was before then is so different than where I am now. And I'm tired of pushing noodles or ropes or whatever it is. I've enabled people instead of empowered. But I don't think it's just me. There just seems to be this generalized, it's just like that one slide of the habits that however many weeks or months it takes to develop new habits, that you're going to get bad habits, you're going to get good habits. So we've developed some bad habits. And so it's a call to what we really need to do and what many of us did to begin with. And so I'm excited about hearing this. And I have a ticket in a hotel room for Tennessee, and I was really questioning because of where I am with my business right now. Do I even want to go and participate in that boss event? And to come into this now, and after this, today, the funeral that I was at was so profound, the entire experience. And it just seems like the timing is right in the first 2 weeks of being on the Asaraf Book Club thing.
Cool. Good.
Yes. Good. And so it's like the whatever is coming in alignment, the stars or the whatever is coming into alignment. And so it just seems like the timing is now. So I really want to thank you, Mike and Dave, and your complementarity of your teaching styles and your systems and so forth. I think that's very important to model that kind of collaboration. And one of the concerns is, just like before, the Williams team did this and Stoltzfus did that and Team Diamond did this and whatever. And we're a small group of people, not that people aren't going to have their own personality.
On this call, in this particular vein of Nikan.
Yes, that's true. But this call then can be the model to show how to do it. We keep going over those slides, but with the results and every month with these monthly statistics, they're embarrassing. And so let's show that it can be
Madeline,
done.
I'm on a call tomorrow at 1 with our CEO, and we're hosting Diamonds and Royal Diamonds from Latin America who have invited their platinums that they have handpicked to make a commitment to a 12-month diamond run. So, so it's not all the same everywhere. Some places there are, people ready to go diamond, who are platinum and so forth. So but this group here is foundational to what's going on in the North American market. And the education that you're getting is the best in the entire North American market. There's nobody that's running parallel to you in the business in the North American market. They're retailers, but they're not going to build a network. We're talking about the next wave, Niken's 10x to 2030. That's a different conversation than just doing more sales. We're talking about 10 times the company. That requires exponential growth. Exponential growth requires business building, team building. Maggie, and I do want to ask Christina. I want to come back I want to ask Christina, who's new on the call. We'll come back to you in a second, Christina. Thanks, Madeline. Maggie, you're on mute, Maggie.
I want to acknowledge Lynn for the stance she is taking, and it's so effective. If we don't create structure and agreements and requests, things are just kind of out there and they're not moving. I've watched Lynn because she's part of the Team Canada expansion team, and I know that your time is so limited, Lynn, and you have really put structure to your business and outstanding what you're doing. So I want to acknowledge that. I also want to acknowledge Madeline after our conversation, because to get to this place today, since that conversation we had on the weekend, which it's night and day. So well done, Madeline. And I want to just clarify that the video you want us to watch is the one that Dave published today, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Because I wasn't sure everybody understood what that video was. I just watched it, and yeah, it's really worth watching in terms of where's the money? Show me the money.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
If I can
My
just
pleasure.
add, I'll tell a story. So when I first started in Niken, nobody knew anything. There wasn't anybody here that knew anything, and I wanted to win the trip to Japan. So I called my little upline and I said, "How am I going to learn what I need to do?" And she said, "Well, my brother told me that there's this big meeting in Atlanta, and I already told him you're on fire." So he told me, "I need to go and take you with me." And so we did. And I didn't want to spend the money because I was going to win that trip to Japan, and I wanted to make sure I had extra money when I went to Japan to empty suitcases, to bring things home. So anyway, I went, and oh my God, I couldn't believe it. There were these 10,000 people there, 10,000, at long lines buying all the video cassettes and audio cassettes, and I was watching Mike, you, and Julie Tara, dressed up in some fancy gown. And I didn't believe some of what I heard up there. So instead of listening to more there, I saw the lines outside. I went out and bought a suitcase from across the street, and I bought a lot. And all I did was interview people in the lines. What did you do before? Is this for real? Whatever. And in the bathrooms, there was 10,000 people there. So I just interviewed a lot of people and missed some of what was going on in there. And then when at lunchtime, I walked with 10,000 in that auditorium, I walked in down to the front. It was an overhead projector then. And who was there but my upline Royal Diamond? And he still doesn't know the difference between me and Barb Satterwhite. He still gets us, 29 years later, he still doesn't know who I am. And so he's there with the overhead projector, and I introduced myself to him, and I saw his name, and I said, "You're my upline Royal Diamond." He said, "Well, I'm busy right now." So he didn't even say, "Hello, welcome, who are you, where do you live?" Nothing. And
Madeline, are we coming to a point?
Okay, I'm gonna get to the point. So I looked at the auditorium, and there were all these Kenco seats. And it amazed me, having been at other healthcare conferences, all these Kenco seats. And my thought was, how does anybody know if anybody isn't going to steal their Kenko seat or where? Why? And I almost thought I was like at a handicap conference. There were people with, magnets all over their face and everywhere else, and I was just fascinated. And so I collected as much as I could, and it had not been for that first meeting. So then after that was a Maui meeting.
Madeline,
Oh,
point.
what, and to get to the point. Okay, thank you. Thank you for bringing me back to the point. So when I went to the Maui meeting, again, I'm the Lone Ranger, and Michael, you were with Sophia in the swimming pool. And so then everybody after swimming goes in with their own Royal Diamonds. Well, I'm the Lone Ranger out there. So I'm knocking on doors and know this is our time to do teeps. Dave Rolfe was running around the swimming pool. There were a
Madeline,
few
point.
point.
What's the
So he
point?
was market. I want to talk about him and his training. So he was marketing. He was going to have a breakout class if anybody wanted to come, and we didn't have any place to go for
Madeline,
the.
hang on a second. You're going on and on. I got to cut you off because
Okay, cut me
we
off.
were
Cut me
we
off. That's
were we
okay.
were at a
Yeah, we need
conference and
other
now we're
people. No, so the point is his training from that was 1999 until now. And there has been a lot of criticism of Dave Rolfe, but he is a good trainer, a very good trainer, and because of his interactive way of teaching, picking up
yeah.
and doing calls
I think
and
Dave's brilliant.
going out and when you take his leadership class, you go out and talk to people. You don't come back until you find somebody. And so
Okay, Madeline.
I'm done.
you're-
I'm done. I'm
Ah.
done. Thank you.
Okay. Just yes, we agree. Dave is a great trainer, and the only controversy concerning Dave is his style. Everybody has their own
know.
unique style, and he's much more direct. And
Yes.
and people don't necessarily appreciate direct, but Mike DiMuccio sure as hell does. I appreciate direct.
But
So
what's been wonderful is
hang
you
on, Madeline. Madeline.
collaborating with no, you
I
collaborating
need
with him.
no. I've got to get on. Okay, Christina, you're new to the call. Doesn't always go on like this, but it does sometimes. So tonight
Mark.
has been, we didn't tailor this call for you clearly, but the point of it is, or the question that I have for you is, how does it make you feel to know you're in a conversation where people can be pretty straight up about stuff?
Great, I guess.
Do
they
you
feel
have any?
confident.
Go ahead.
They feel confident, and it's like they know, as you said, they know how to present themselves, like to bring people on their board.
Now, are you really new to Nikan?
If I'm really new,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say pretty new.
How long have you been with Nikan?
That's a great question. Wow. Probably like a little bit more than 6 months or something.
Okay.
Maybe more.
So
Maybe more. It's more.
now in Latin America, I noticed there's a tendency, or not a tendency, it's pretty much the way they do it. There's two dates. When I ask that question, they always answer, well, there's two dates. There's the date that I got involved with Niken, and then there's the date that I started my Niken business. There's always two dates with Latin Americans. So I have the same question. So you got involved about 6 months ago. When did you start building the business, or have you started building the business yet?
Actually, I did try my best, and I've been having like a hard time with probably the people who I approach. It's like with price wise, and I guess I'm just not reaching the right people.
No, that's not it at all.
So I guess I
That's
don't know how to explain.
Well, when you said to me, when you said right now the price objection, if you recall one of the statements I made at the earlier part of the call, I said you're going to raise a price objection. Why? Why are you raising a price objection? Because you're talking to people about the product, not about the business opportunity. That's why.
Probably.
You're leading with the product. And so you're coming across as somebody who wants to sell something, and then they're taking on. So you put on the hat, I'm selling you a product, and then they put on the hat, oh, I'm supposed to be a customer. Okay, so customers are very resistant. You ever go into You ever go into a clothing store and somebody comes up to you right away and says, "Can I help you?" What do you say?
I'm just browsing.
Right? Right? So that's what's going on right now with your business. What you want to learn how to do is how to prospect for the opportunity. That's one thing. Prospecting for the products, that's a different thing. And they both have their own finesse. How to invite somebody to learn about NECANN. So I'm going to make a recommendation. Maybe you've listened to it, maybe you haven't. There's an audio that you can listen to on YouTube. It's actually a video, but you can just listen to it. And it's done by my daughter. It's called Contact and Invite. Contact and Invite. And it's done by the Sovereign Life team. So if you look up Sovereign Life team, Contact and Invite on YouTube, you'll see my daughter is the first face, the face that you see on that. And I want you to study that audio and then make notes, because you're going to realize what you've been doing and what she's been doing is very different. So there is a skill that's necessary to learn to be very effective at contacting and inviting, at bringing people to want to know about NECANN. Dave started talking about it earlier, and I was talking about it earlier. People need to know what they want, and you need to know what they want before you offer anything. So don't offer a solution to a problem that has not yet been admitted to. That's the skill of sales of any kind. You sell people what they want, but you got to know what they want before you can sell it to them. If you start selling them what you got, what you want, then they're going to just be like that person. No, thanks, I'm just browsing. It's too expensive. So hopefully that helps. That might save you some time. And definitely be on these calls, because you're going to learn stuff like that here. You're going to definitely learn tips about building a business, and to know that you're part of a team of people. You're not alone.
Thank
So
you.
don't choose to be alone. Choose to be part of this team. Let's see your face more often, and then you'll become more part of this conversation, and you'll learn those things that we've learned over the years that have helped us make money in NECANN. So yeah, keep coming back.
Thank you. I will do.
You're welcome. All right, guys, it's 8:58. I don't think we need the extra 2 minutes. You kind of know what your homework